Hello, welcome to Season 2, Episode 36 of Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie, Ruth McGouth, and today I'm reacting to Feverborn by Karen Marie Moning. So what I'll do is I'll read the back of the book, which I'm reading off of a different device because I don't have the cover to this book, and I'll tell you what I liked about the book, what I didn't like about the book. I'll tell you my rating and the food that I've associated and what nails that I have on, which you can see that I just have clear nails on today, and I'll tell you why. So here we go. In Karen Marie Moning's latest installment of the epic #1 New York Times bestselling Fever series, Mac, Barons, Riordan, and Jada are back, and the stakes have never been higher, and the chemistry has never been hotter. Hurtling us into a realm of labyrinthine intrigue and consummate seduction, Feverborn is a riveting tale of ancient evil, lust, betrayal, forgiveness, and the redemptive power of love. When the immortal Fae destroyed the ancient wall dividing the worlds of man and fairy, the very fabric of the universe was damaged, and now Earth is vanishing, bit by bit. Only the long-lost song of making, a haunting, dangerous melody that is the source of life itself, can save the planet. But those who seek the mythic song must contend with the old wounds and the new enemies, passions that burn hot and hunger for vengeance that runs deep. The challenges are many. The Keltar at war with the 9 immortal souls who have secretly ruled Dublin for eons. Mac and Jada hunted by the masses. The Seelie Queen nowhere to be found. And the most powerful unseelie prince in all creation, determined to rule both Fae and man. Now the task of solving the ancient riddle of the Song of Making falls to a band of deadly warriors divided among and within themselves. Once a normal city possessing a touch of ancient magic, Dublin is now a treacherously magical city with only a touch of normal. And on those war-torn streets, Mac will come face to face with her most savage enemy yet, herself. Dun dun dun. All right, so this is book 8 of the Fever series. So if you want to start with book 1, which I highly recommend, that is called Dark Fever. So that is it's a great place to start. I really love this series. I especially love this book, so I give it 4.75 stars, really close to the highest it could get. I think this is definitely one of the most, like, the best books in the series that I've read so far. I'd have to look back to see if I'd ever given a higher star rating to a book out of the series. I really, really liked it. Why did I like it? So what did I like about it? Well, so there's a lot of different characters that kind of come into play, and I felt like in this book they weaved together a lot of really interesting development for those characters. So Michaela Lane is the main character. They mention her, they call her Mac in the back of the book, and so she is in most of the books. I think there is, she's in all of them. She's referenced for sure in all of them. There is one of the books from the series, the last one before this book, I believe, is narrated by Danny, who's another character that's in this book. So there's one, at least, that's narrated by a different person. But this one, I think, is narrated by multiple of them. So it kind of goes around. But most of the first ones are narrated by Mac. So she starts out telling most of the story. But in this one, we get to see from multiple different people's perspective, and we really do get to start to know some different sides of things, and we're deeply into the story at this point, and so we're really getting to understand some different parts and pieces that start bringing the story together in a really interesting and cool way. And we're developing relationships that are very interesting, that are really cool. I felt like, sometimes when I read books that there is some sex in these books, and sometimes that really annoys me, but I felt like there wasn't as much in this, so it didn't annoy me as much, which is great. there are these characters, I think they've also developed, because we had an entire book, the last book, about Danny. We've gotten to know Danny as well, which is really who they refer to as Jada in this book, because she has a couple different names. And so we kind of get to know her and Ryodan and Dancer, who are kind of the people in her circle. And we've got Mac and Christian and Barons, who are the people in Mac's circle, and they all kind of go together. But in this book, they mention that they're kind of working towards trying to save the world, which they are kind of doing that from the beginning, but it's gotten pretty serious by the time we're here on book 8. And so it's just, I thought it was really well written. The ending was super, super good. It's definitely a cliffhanging ending, so it leaves you really wanting more, really wanting to read the next book, which, of course, for me, I will be waiting because I make myself wait. So that was really great. The only thing I didn't like, I mean, the character of Barons, or in earlier books, is much more alluring for me. I kind of feel like at this point in this book, Barons was kind of meh. Like, meh, I don't know. He didn't really play that much of a role, in my opinion. I was much more engaged with the other characters. And I think that's why I liked it, is that the engagement that I had with the other characters and really wanting to find out what was going on with them, there was a lot of intrigue. So that's always compelling. So I do highly recommend this series. Start with Dark Fever. That's book number 1. This is book number 8, Feverborn. Super good. Stick with it. It's a great series. I know my number 1 fan out there is finishing another series of books that I recommended, but after you're done with those, go move on over to Dark Fever. I'm sure you'll be way ahead of me in no time. So the food that I put with this book, I've given you some recipes for fish and chips. Now, I'm from England, so you know I love my fish and chips. In this book, there is a part where Danny is feeding fish to somebody. So I went with some fish and chips because that's always delicious. And I put a recipe in there for vegetarian fish and chips made with tofu. Don't be a hater. I once went to visit my friend Dave in Indiana, and we had some of the most amazing, most delicious vegetarian fish and chips at a restaurant made with tofu. So don't poo-poo it until you have tried it, because it can be really good. So I got a recipe in the comments for you there. If that's what you're into and you don't want to make actual fish, try it. Give it a shot. And then for my nails, I have a clear as day. So this is just a clear nails on this time. And the reason I have that is that Mac spends a portion of this book being invisible. So I thought that worked well for this book, because she spends not the entire time, but some of the time in this book being invisible. And while that does have its positives, she finds that it also has its negatives. So yeah, it's an interesting book. It's got some cool plot devices like the invisibility and among other things that are going on for her with her magic that she's developing. There's also a new character that appears in this book that we definitely didn't see coming. That's very intriguing. We're wondering how that happened. And so I can't wait to find out in the next book how that's going to develop. And what's going to happen to all of our intrepid travelers here in the Dark Fever series. So until next time, keep reading. I'll see ya on the other side. Bye.